So welcome and hello, everyone. And, I know you've been in a few of these sessions already, so really happy to see you in this session. Welcome to the 2022 Lean in Higher Education Conference, in case you're wondering where you are. So thank you for attending today's session, which is Modernizing HE Admissions, Recruiting Using Lean, and it will run as a 45 minutes learning lesson. My name is Fermina Bahadur Khail, and I'm one of the co-host or moderators for this session. Before we start, as host, the University of Melbourne would like to acknowledge the Aboriginal and Torres Strait Island traditional owners on the unceded land on which we work and learn. We pay our respect to the elders past and present, and the place of Indigenous knowledge in the Academy. I'm on the land of the Wurundjeri people, of the Kulin Nation today. Just a few housekeeping reminders to everyone. Please stay on mute during the presentation. You're more than welcome to turn on your cameras at any point of time you like, just so that we can see everyone. If you've got questions or comments, please pop them in the chat. We'll be monitoring it, and we'll bring that to the attention of the presenters at the end of their presentation. I think that pretty much sums up the general housekeeping rules. I'm sure you're pretty aware of it by now. So now, without further ado, I'd like to introduce our presenters for this session. And it's our honor today to welcome Julie Taylor, Janyce, Fadden, and Dr. Amber Paulk. Over to our presenters.
Great, thank you so much. We are so excited to be here with you today, coming from the United States of America here in the PM hour. So we're excited to be here. Again, this is who we are, and want to just hop in and start talking about some facts about where we're from to give you a little bit of context. So we all work at the University of North Alabama, located in Florence, Alabama. Just to provide where we are, we're in the southeastern region of the United States, bordered by Tennessee to the north, Georgia to the east, Florida and the Gulf of Mexico to the south, and that's where Janyce is this evening, and then Mississippi to the west. Florence itself, it's a population of about 40,000, so it's a pretty rural area. And the University of North Alabama is a 4-year public regional institution, and we're proud of that because we're really serving a regional area where we're located. Another interesting fact about Florence, Alabama, it has the only Frank Lloyd Wright House in the state of Alabama, which we know he influenced the Opera House there in Australia. So some more about UNA, North Alabama. We are Alabama's oldest 4-year public institution. We were founded in 1830. Been through a few name changes along the way. We're founded as LaGrange College and then became Florence State Teachers College, which should give you a hint about one of our majors here, and then finally became the University of North Alabama. We just crossed the 10,000 student mark this fall, which we are so thrilled about. We have a large representation of international students. We have over 64 countries represented. We do have 300 plus faculty members, which are very involved in the teaching of our students here at UNA. We really don't utilize adjunct faculty like a lot of other institutions do. We use adjunct, but our faculty members are very involved in the classroom here at UNA. We have over 170 majors and concentrations. We just added doctoral programs, and in fall of 23, we're excited to add some associate degree programs. So we're really proud of the wide range of programs that we're able to offer here at the University of North Alabama. We have some unique programs also. We're really trying to lean into our workforce development and getting students ready to enter the workforce. Those programs are things like computer science, engineering, accounting. We have data analytics. We're starting a mechatronics program in the fall. So those are some things that we're really trying to lean into. And then I put that financial aid information there just so kind of gives you a context of the students that we are serving here at UNA. Again, it is a rural area, And so a majority of our students do receive some type of financial aid. Another interesting fact about the University of North Alabama, which I cannot go without saying, is we do have a live lion on campus, our mascot Leo. So come check us out one day. You can meet Leo. And I will also say that we are thankful to be Alabama's fastest growing institution, and we would really give that credit to our lean thinking that we've been able to implement here at UNA. So we're going to go over a case study with you, how we modernize the recruitment of first-time full-time freshmen. Those are those students who graduate from high school and go directly to college. What we know is that we have to move quickly in order to be effective in reaching these students. And so we've mapped a few processes to how do we reach these students faster. We've mapped how we process applications. We've mapped our communication, what we're saying to these students when. We've mapped our scholarships and how do we get those awards out faster so students know, okay, this is what I'm going to get as my scholarship package, and this is how much I'm going to have to pay. And then on Monday, we're going to map how a student applies to live here on campus, that housing process. So to provide some more context of the state of Alabama and the students that we're working with, the high school graduation rate is continuing to decline. So we know that we have to reach them, and we have to reach them faster than other institutions. We also are spending quite a bit of money on buying students' names. And so we wanted to think about how do we get these students in our funnel earlier. So we worked with our Office of Institutional Research here at UNA. They created such a cool Tableau dashboard for us so we could really see where these students are coming from, and just looking at the demographics a bit more intense. This slide here just shows, again, providing more context for the students. This is Alabama's high school graduation college going rate. And so you can see that's declining over the years, starting in 2014 all the way to 2019. This is how many students graduate from high school and then go on to either a 2-year or a 4-year institution. So you can see that that's declining. We'll continue to see declining high school graduation rates, particularly when we get to 2025. We know there's going to be a real cliff. So again, we knew the urgency, but we just also knew we had to find these students faster than other institutions and to communicate with them more effectively. So now I'm going to pass it over to Janyce.
Thanks, Julie. My role at the university is to help these groups with lean. I have a corporate career. I'm not an academic. I was in industrial companies for 35 years. And I learned a lot of lean there. And when I got to the university, people began to say that they needed to have improvements. And I said, well, I think I know this thing that might be helpful. And so I brought into the university a couple of tools and methodology that we use. So when we think about our work, and when I'm talking to leaders like Amber and Julie about what they should be doing, there's always 3 levels at a company. There's the frontline people doing daily work. There's management, and they should be working on process improvement. And leadership should be thinking about what's that next breakthrough that we're going to have in order to keep the institution sustainable. What we find, though, is a lot of management likes to do daily work. It's just easier for them, and they don't want to think about the processes. So we've brought in some tools. Strategic doing is a tool that we use. We teach it at our university. It's a methodology for collaboration and networking. So when we have a complex question, we usually start with a strategic doing session and think about it that way. Then we bring in lean tools. Primarily, we're using rapid improvement, which we call rapid improvement is primarily a mapping exercise looking at 8 forms of waste. We have brought in other tools, but our main tool is getting everyone to take time out of the process. And then we measure things with key performance indicators. So let's go to the next slide. What I guide people with when we start is You can only change, in a process, you can only change three things. You can change the process, you can change the tools, or you can change the people. And what happens is too often is management keeps changing the people and they never look at the process. And the most important thing to change is the process, because we have many times good people working in bad processes. What we want is great processes, so good people get great outcomes. And the other thing we find is that the tools are often underutilized. The amount of software a campus already has, and the fact that a lot of it is never used or never tested. So when we go into the improvement, we are looking for the machine, we call it the machine, to do the work and free our people up so they can have a value-added interaction with the prospect, because that's what we want them. We want them to convert that prospect into a student. And to do that, well, we can't keep asking them mundane things like, could you tell us your address again? So let's go to the next. So we teach that there's those three things. We also teach the two fundamentals of lean, so that we take off the table. We are not critiquing the past. Whoever made whatever decision is here today, whatever we're dealing with, it was the right decision at the time they were making it. So we're going to respect all the people that had those decisions. And the current process respects your ability to make improvements, which we call idea cards. Anybody can make an idea card. We want everyone to make idea cards through a process change. And every idea card is considered 2 or 3 times in our process. None are just set aside. So the next chart is my last one. One more, Julie. What we want is what we have, what we want, what we use, and what has been successful is a guided conversation using this structured tool. So no longer are we telling a group, you need to be able to handle more leads. You got to talk to more students, more prospects. We want to have a structured process, and we want to be able to see the process, measure the process, so that we know where we have issues in the process. And we want to keep, that analogy of peeling the onion. Let's do this round, let's do another round, let's do another round. The process we started with at the university in 2014 was our MBA graduate program, where we had 300 students in it, a part-time program. And that group does a process improvement every year. And now we have 1,200 students. We are the largest MBA program in Alabama, bigger than schools 3 or 4 times our size. So it's really been enriching to watch people get engaged in these processes. So that's the main structure of what Amber will now take us through an example.
Thanks, Janyce. And to provide a little context for my perspective is that I work in the area of academic affairs. So does Julie. And part of my responsibility area is in the recruitment side. And this is one piece of that puzzle that I get to work on with Julie, which I love because she has really bought into the culture as well. And so we're able to get a lot done together. And also the retention side. And so we are working to, not just effectively recruit the qualified and right student, but this team is working on making sure that student is successful and graduates. I want to start a little bit about what is early college. Janyce, when we were practicing this, gave me a good note that maybe not, institutions outside the US may not have this practice, but in the US, it's very common for us to offer high school students the opportunity to take college classes while they're still in high school. Sometimes those are dual enrollment classes. So that means that they're getting credit for it in the high school and at college. That's only available to the student if it's being taught by a high school teacher who's credentialed to teach that college course. In the past, most of our population of those students, we required them to come to our campus and take classes from our faculty. Those are early college classes only. They do not count for that high school history credit for that student because that faculty member is not teaching at their high school. And so We, in looking at data and saying we have this first-time full-time freshman, recruitment cliff that everybody's going to be going off. We know that it's going to get even more competitive than it is today. Where are we successful? And I think that that's where we started is, who are our students that we're doing a really good job of pulling them, not just to the institution, but we are graduating them, we're retaining them, they're successful. And let's see if we can't just maximize the volume on that group. And so the Office of Institutional Research, who is a tremendous partner for us, Julie mentioned the dashboards and the data that they gather for us, they inform every decision that we make, because how our people spend their time is precious. And we want them spending their time on value-added things. And so looking back at about a 10-year period, we saw that about 43% of students who enrolled in at least one early college course during their high school time ended up either matriculating as a first-time full-time freshman or later as a transfer student. And so there we go. What was even more amazing was that UNA, our institution, has really strong retention rates and a really strong historical, data set that shows we are very good at retaining students in general, but this particular set of students was even better. The 1-year retention rate of freshmen who had taken at least one early college course was 84%, from the first, freshman year to sophomore year, and their 4-year graduation rates of students that had participated in early college at some point during high school was 44% at the 6-year and 62% at the 6-year. And you can see that is significantly higher than what we would call their non-early college peers. So students that look exactly like them, but didn't participate in our early college program. So knowing that data, we thought this is something that we think we can lean into and invest in. But, there was a problem in terms of workload. How on earth, we had about 300, students a year in those prior years participating in early college. Who is going, if we grow that, who is going to teach it? In looking around at other institutions, there was a lot of dual credit being offered in the high school. We saw that from the transcripts that were coming into the Office of Admissions. Those high schools were partnering though with our community colleges to offer those classes. And so we saw that as an opportunity. Most adjuncts, they applied to teach for us, and that's based on a need of the student population that we have. If you got full-time faculty to teach it, you don't need an adjunct to teach that class. The difference here was that these dual enrollment teachers in the high schools were bringing students with them. And it would be a way that we could increase the capacity of our offerings and still find that balance and have a touch point with these students. So we created something called the Early College Faculty Development Program. And this is where our high school teachers who were credentialed to teach dual enrollment courses would come participate in professional development. They would work with the faculty on our campus in that discipline, be introduced to the department chair. That would help us ensure that the class was indeed being offered as a rigorous course, meeting the objectives outlined in the curriculum. They would be compensated for participation in that professional development, and it would allow us to expand our course offerings while providing support to those students. So where do we start with this? We had actually, like I said, the majority of our early college students were being taught by faculty on our campus. We had really a handful of high school teachers teaching dual enrollment early college classes through us. The vast majority of teachers in our region were teaching their dual enrollment through a community college. We had 2 high school teachers that had served as dual enrollment teachers for UNA for years. and they were a model of exactly what we were talking about. We looked at the data of the students from their classes, and even compared to, you know, the students that came to UNA's campus, these folks were essentially serving as recruiters for UNA because they brought them up here. They brought the students to tour campus, to talk to the faculty in specific departments. They really got these students engaged in campus life. And we thought, well, if this is something that we could scale and all of these students do these things, I think that this is the best of the best in terms of going out and recruiting, because you can go to the high school, but when you have the students come to you, that's a completely different experience. And so these two liaisons, because we really said, you guys are exactly the role model of what we think is a quality engagement experience in college life. And so they helped us design this. And so we called them our early college faculty liaisons. One of the things that they do that is critical to the success of the program is they are the intermediary between the teachers and the questions that they have about how this works within the high school. Because I'm not a high school teacher, and Janyce and Julie and all of us that work on the university side don't have the same regulations and the same responsibilities of reporting and things like that. And so Paul and Jason are able to answer those kind of questions, put people at ease, say, well, you'll just fill out this form, and then you'll do a field trip request, and then you'll do this. And so they have demystified that part of the process, and that's proved invaluable. So we had really 5 core program goals. Provide regular opportunities for dual enrollment high school teachers to meet and communicate with discipline-specific department chairs and faculty. We knew this was going to be critical to our campus accepting this concept. We were going to have to ensure that we felt like if we're going to scale this, and this is where they're going to be taking their history. You know, they may not take a history class on this campus from our history faculty. They have to feel comfortable about the fact that these students are, in fact, being taught history at that level. That meant that we get those folks together every summer. We have really kind of our big, massive orientation where we talk about the development of course syllabi, instructional materials, you know, textbooks, all of those good things. We bring in all of our resources. The students that take early college classes through us are UNA students, and they need to have access to all of the support that our students on campus do. These are UNA faculty, and we want them to know what resources we provide our faculty that are available to them. They participate in professional development every semester that they are teaching a dual enrollment course for us. And Paul and Jason help us reach out to the teachers, survey them, make sure it's something they're interested in. You know, I love that Paul and Jason, when we start talking about what are we going to do for the fall and what are we going to do for the spring, they will tell us, you know, Amber, that's condescending. Teachers already know how to do that. They're more interested in these issues over here. And I'm like, that's great. That's wonderful feedback. Because one of the things that's been remarkable for me to watch on the faculty side is our faculty developing relationships with these teachers and going, man, these people are really, really good teachers. I actually want to have them adjunct for me in the summer and teach in my program. That's been phenomenal. And a lot of these teachers in the high schools are our graduates, and they're very proud to teach a course through us. So that's been a joy that was unexpected for me. And this is the key for us on the recruitment side, which is provide opportunities for early college students to visit our campus and learn more about the institution and its programs. And the sky's been the limit on this. We have already done several things that have been just really unique and interesting. But we had an early college day where all early college students last spring were invited to come to campus. And they really did an experiential tour through campus. They walked through a, you know, theater design set. They went and they looked over in the criminal justice forensic blood splatter lab. They went all over campus and got these really cool experiences. A lot of the students in our program are from this region, and maybe they've been on our campus for an event or, you know, a sports activity, but they don't know the programs that we offer. And so that was a really amazing opportunity to get to introduce those students to what UNA is like as a place of learning and belonging. So it was phenomenal. We're going to do it again. Okay, so the first year impact, we started the early college faculty development program in fall of 21. Like I said earlier, we had about 300 students a year participating in early college through UNA. You know, I can't even believe I'm looking at this number, but this fall we had 1,800 early college students that are being taught a course through dual enrollment high school through the University of North Alabama. If they matriculate at the same rate as previous cohorts, that's a net gain of 770 new first-time full-time students as a result of this program. I think that it's important to note, you know, did we have an impact on, you know, our freshmen this year? We did. We have the largest freshman class that we've ever had. We looked at those data with OIR. Many of those students, a big chunk of them, you know, in comparison to years prior, participated in early college. And, you know, that's a cake that's still baking because not everybody that took early college last year was a senior. So some were a junior and they're in their senior year this year, and we're getting an opportunity to continue to reach out and engage with that student. So that is the end of our formal presentation, and I will turn it over to Farmina to moderate.
Thank you very much, Amber. So I guess this will be a great time for everyone to pop in some comments, questions to our esteemed presenters so that, you know, we can have a great discussion today.
I will throw out there that we are also fine if someone wants to ask a live question. That would be totally fine too.
Yep, sure. If you would like to go and unmute yourself, then feel free to do so. Yep, sure. I can see Nolan. If you would like to please raise your question. Thank you.
Hi, I just made this remark to my team. I'm at UT Arlington in Texas, and I think one of my real key takeaways from a lot of these presentations, the way that people are getting help from people sort of outside of the process, those faculty members who agreed to be part of that cohort to train those other faculty members at the high school level. Like I'm guessing that those people were invaluable to your process.
They were, and I have to say that was not easy. I would be absolutely misleading you to say that even everybody on our campus is jumping up and down and celebrating. Some faculty are threatened by this. Absolutely. They think that, you know, and a direct quote from someone in history is, you know, students decide they want to major in history in that first year history course when they're, you know, taking it from me. And I think that what you have to do is, and what Julie and I have tried to do in going out and talking to faculty, is look at the transcripts that are coming in. They are taking history in the high school, period, full stop. We can either be a part of that, or we can sit back and let them take it. I mean, there's not and I made a statement the other day that actually flabbergasted a faculty member. I said, not a single dual enrollment teacher from these 1,800 students was not teaching dual enrollment before they started teaching it with us. And it's just the plain old, if you can't beat them, join them. And I want the opportunity to actually have a little bit of quality control by helping connect them with our resources and our faculty on our campus. And that it's a journey, but if we had not done this early college faculty development, if this had been about the early college student, we would not be here. So yes, that's a key part of the process.
Thanks for that, Amber. We've got a question from Julie Knox as well, if you would like to go on, unmute yourself.
Yes. No, the question of using data, you alluded to the fact that your institutional research pulled a lot of data and you saw where the trends were. if you go back to the beginning of the process, did you anticipate that this was the cohort, the early college was your opportunity? Or was it once you looked at the data